Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make a light in the dark earrings. These are made using decreasing brick stitch in two different colors of size 11 Delica beads. I've got the matte black and also the galvanized gold and copper. I've also got some 6-pound FireLine in the black satin, my size 11 beading needle, one of my favorite tools, the Xeron cutter, my chain nose pliers. I've also got one pair of rose gold filled ear wires and two 3mm jump rings. Okay, let's get started. Let me talk to you about how we go about building this diamond pattern. We're going to start with the widest part of the diamond, which is 18 beads across here. And then we're going to slowly decrease line by line or row by row with our beads. Then we're going to go ahead and flip the diamond over and work this way from the center out. I've taken my needle and I've already threaded about 5 feet of thread. Now this 5 feet should make your full earring, but we're going to start from the middle of the thread and work one way. And then we'll use the second remaining part of the thread to work all the way to the other end. So what I want to do is start by building a ladder row. That base row is built by doing a ladder stitch. Let me show you how to do that. First, we're going to start with 2 of the size 11 Delica beads in the matte black, because again, we're starting from that center out. So I'm going to bring my beads down to the center of my thread. And I'm going to go ahead and go back through the very first bead here. And you can see that we want the beads to sit side by side so their holes are facing the same direction. You can see that there. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my needle, pass that back through that second bead. Okay, so now I've got 2 of the 18 beads. And I'm going to go ahead and add one more bead. And I'm going to go down through that last bead. Pull my thread through. And then go back up that last bead again. We're just adding a bead at a time, as you can see. And it's okay if it's a little bit loose to start. You don't have to have super strong tension, because that's going to get tighter as we start working our brick stitch. So grab another bead. This time now I'm going up through that last one. So we're just following that thread path around. Pull my thread through. Make sure my beads are sitting side by side. Go back down through this last bead. And continue adding beads until we have 18 across. Okay, I've gone ahead and finished my 18 bead ladder. You can see that they're not all sitting perfectly straight, but all the beads holes are facing the same direction. I've got my thread coming out of the last one here, and we're going to work that next row from right to left. So I'm going to pick up this ladder. Now this is going to be easier to hold on to as you begin building. This first initial ladder row is a little bit more difficult to hold on to, but you can do it. Okay, now you can see that there's space in between each of these beads where there's a thread. So brick stitch is built by adding beads and then hooking underneath that thread. You can see there. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. To decrease, I'm not going to go through this first loop. I'm going to go through the thread path in between the second and third bead here. So go ahead and pick up 2 of your black beads. I'm going to go from the back to the front underneath that thread path. There, you can see that there. And I'm going to go ahead and pull all the way through. And when I do this, I want to make sure that my beads again are sitting right on top of the others, again with the holes facing the same direction. And now I'm just going to go right up through that last bead. And pull the thread through. Again, you want to make sure that your beads are sitting on top of the last row, sitting side by side, and the beads are sitting facing the same direction. They're stacked on top of each other like little bricks. To do the next one, I'm going to add just 1 bead this time. Again, come from the back. Now I'm going to go through the thread path between the 3rd and 4th here. Go ahead and come up from the back through that thread path, just catching that thread path, pulling your thread all the way through, and then go back up that same bead that you just added. And pull tight. And you can see how they're starting to lay nicer together. We're going to continue this on, adding 1 bead at a time and catching those thread paths, each of the thread paths. And so for this row, I had 18 in the first initial ladder row, and this row is going to have 17. And some people can catch the thread, turn right around, and go up through that bead. I'm going to pull my thread all the way through, then go up through the bead here. And then again, make sure that it's tight and sitting right down next to the one before. This is a great contemporary design, and you can really change this up to make it your own. You can change up your size of your diamond by changing how many beads you start in your ladder stitch. So if you want them a little larger, start with a longer ladder. And if you want them a smaller diamond, you're going to go ahead and start with a shorter ladder, less beads. So again, just right through that thread path, pull, and go straight up through that bead. All right, I'm going to finish this row off, and then I'll show you how to move on to the third row. Okay, I've completed the second row, and it's got 17 beads, and you can see my thread is coming right out of that last one here. I'm going to go ahead and start my third row, working from left to right. And again, this row is going to be all of the matte black beads. So again, to start a row and a decrease, instead of going through that first thread path there between 1 and 2, we're going to go through beads 2 and 3, the thread path between 2 and 3. And that's going to pop it over, creating that indent or that decrease. So I've added 2 beads, pulling down, going right up through that last bead, and pull your thread up. Now you do want to make sure that your beads are sitting side by side. Those first two tend to lay more in a V shape, so you want to make sure that you're kind of wiggling them into place. And now we're ready to take off again, adding one bead at a time, going through that next thread bridge or thread path there, pull, and then go straight up that bead. Pull your thread through. See how he likes to just pop up there. That first one, we want to make sure that he's laying down nicely. Just going to reposition him there. There we go. All right, and then we're going to keep going. In this row, since we're only decreasing by one each time, it's going to have 16 beads. Get right underneath that bridge, between those beads, that thread bridge. You don't want to catch the thread. You want to make sure you're going right underneath it. You don't want to split that thread at all. You also don't want to catch your thread on some tools that you've got sitting over there. Sorry about that. All right, and we'll just keep going. This pattern starts to bring in that rose gold on the next row. So you'll start to see that. Again, just going in one by one, catching the thread, going back up through that last bead. Add a bead, catch a thread, pull it all the way through, and go up through the next. Now, brick stitch tends to look like peyote stitch, if you've ever done peyote stitch, only it's on its side, and you build it differently. And because of the way you build it, by catching these threads here, instead of going through the beads like you would a peyote stitch, it actually creates a little bit more of a rigid, solid shape. So for these earrings, it's nice to do them in brick stitch because it'll keep its shape a little bit better when you're wearing them. You can see this guy, it's a little bit twisted. There we go. Make him lay correctly, then go ahead and go up through that last bead. All right, I'm going to continue on for this row to finish off row 3. Then I'm going to start row 4. And row 4 will have 15 beads, with the center one being the golden copper bead. I'll come right back and show you that. Okay, I've gone ahead and started row 4, working from right to left, and I've got 7 of the matte black beads. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 of the golden copper and then 7 more black. This is going to be the start of the little tiny golden triangle in here. So again, just showing the pattern here, how we just add 1 golden, bring that down, and go back up through. You can change up this design really easily, draw it out. We've got some great graph paper on our site on fusionbeads.com, and you can draw this pattern, and I went ahead and drew this pattern out to start. It helps me, even though it's a relatively simple color combination, it helps me know how many beads to start with in the middle. It also gives me an idea of how big that diamond shape was going to be, and it also helps me figure out when to start this point. So graphing it out, coloring it is a great tip. And there we go. We're just going to keep going all the way. Just again, catching that thread, pulling it down, and back up through. And then again, that last one, and go back up through. And then I'll be able to start my 5th row. So let me show you. The pattern's gonna continue. I'm gonna pause here. Let me show you what the rest of this pattern looks like. Okay. So what we've done is this is your 4th row. The 5th row will have 6 beads, 6 black beads, 2 of the golden copper, and again 6 black. Next row will have 5, then 3, 5. Next row will be 4, 4, and 4. Next row will be 3, 5, and 3, 2, 6, and 2, and then 1, 7, 1. Then we're going to go with 8 of the golden copper, and then we're going to continue to decrease 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then that last one. Then we'll go ahead and find the thread that we started with, that extra thread, and we'll work the same way all the way decreasing with just the matte black. So once that's done, I'll show you how to attach the ear wire. Okay, I've added row 17 with the last 2 beads, and then I'm going to go ahead and do one more bead for that last bit and go right down through that next bead over. I'm also going to go then down the next row, because we're going to want to work our thread around to reinforce that. And I'm going to pick this one up here too. Just go down one more. Here. And then what I can do is I'm going to go back up through the next bead over. Just that bead right there. And we want to reinforce this area because right now there's only one thread in there. So I'm going to work my way back up. We don't have to catch our thread bridges or thread paths again. I'm going to go back through this one. Got a little hair there. Here. And now I can go ahead. There is a fuzzy right there. See if I can get that there. All right, now I'm going to go back through that top bead. Like so. And again, working my way back down. And I don't like that these are sitting like a little V, so I want to straighten those out. So what I'm going to do is go up through this left one. Skip going through the top one. You can see how they're already sitting nicer. And go back down the one on the right. So again, this is just reinforcing this top area here. And then we're going to start working our thread down through our beads to end it off. There we go. And now I can start working my thread down. So I'm just going to go down this edge bead here. And down a few other beads. And you're just going either to the right or left of the bead that you're coming out of, working your thread down through. And you can turn it, go back up. If you go right next to the one that you came out of, go up. And this is just going to kind of almost just make a few different loops in here, finishing off your thread nicely so it's not, you don't need to do knots or anything in here. You're just finishing off your thread a few times, working it down through. And you can do this. This is also going to stiffen your piece too, so if you're finding that it is a little bit floppy because of your tension, this will help tighten everything back up. Here I go back up through again. One more time. Okay, and now that that is finished, I can go ahead and cut my thread tight against those beads there. There we go. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and continue by flipping my piece over, and I'm going to go ahead and thread this second part of thread and show you how to start the second side of your diamond. Okay, I've got my one side done of my diamond here, and now we're going to use that second part of the thread to bead the second side of the diamond, and this is all going to be in that matte black seed bead. So you can see that my thread is coming out of the very first bead that we put on here. Now I want to work my thread over to come out of that second one, that second bead over, and then I'm going to go ahead and catch the thread between my second and third bead. So again, to start, I'm going to just pick up 2 size 11 Delicas in the matte jet or matte black. Go ahead and catch that thread right between the second and third beads there, that thread bridge. Pull all the way through. Make sure that they sit side by side here, and then go up through that second bead that you added. And pull tight. And again, just kind of adjusting, making sure that those beads sit side by side, like so. Next, add another bead. Catch that next thread path, that thread bridge right there. And pull. Go back up. Like so. And remember, once we come back through and put another bead on top of this one here, it's going to start sitting down a little bit better too. But you do want to try to make sure that he sits side by side and doesn't poke up. There. Like so. Okay, and then I'm just going to continue on. Grabbing one bead, going through the next available thread path. Pull all the way through. Go back up through that bead. Pull. Okay, and we're going to continue this on. So again, this is going to be the 17th row on this side of the diamond, because again, that middle row is our widest point of the diamond, and remember it started with 18 beads. This one will be 17, and we'll work all the way down to a single. All in the jet or matte black bead here, and it's just going to taper down to a single bead. You're going to finish it off the exact way that I just showed you on the other side of this diamond, working your thread all the way through down the edge and doing a few passes back through a few beads just to end off that thread and then snip it off. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just continuing to add one bead at a time. And then on my next row, I'll go up, do a decrease, adding only 16 beads to that next row. And this will continue on. I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I'll finish it off, and then I will show you how to attach your jump ring and ear wire. All right, nice job. We've completed our diamond, and I'm going to go ahead and attach a jump ring, just that top golden copper bead, and then also attach the ear wire. So this is a little 3mm jump ring, nice and small, so it's not going to be too noticeable in our design. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, go ahead and grab both sides of the jump ring, open it up, take my finished diamond, loop it right through the bead itself, and then again, using your chain nose pliers, close up that jump ring. Okay, now we're ready for the loop of our ear wire. So with this, again, we're going to grab the side of our ear wire with our chain nose pliers, open, bending the loop towards you, as you can see. Go ahead and take the jump ring there, slide that on the ear wire, and using your chain nose, grab that loop again and close it. All right, there you have the light and the dark earrings made with decreasing brick stitch. I hope you guys like this video. If you do, comment below, click the like button, and you can find more projects like this on FusionBeads.com.